So thanks everybody for watching or listening to my interview with writer and director Jayden Creighton, the writer and director of The Matriarch. Bum, 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 which you can watch the trailer for it on YouTube. And you can rent or buy The Matriarch on Google Play and Apple TV in Australia. And in the US, you can find it on Prime, Google, Apple, and Fandango. So check out The Matriarch by the great Jayden Creighton. My name is ZaKaiRan. Look for me on YouTube. And who knows, might be a future film podcast, but my podcast is more of a spiritual origin called The Master Keys of Creation. So again, thanks a lot for watching my interview with Jayden. And have fun out there, everybody. All right, so hi, my name is ZaKaiRan, and I'm an actor and filmmaker, and I'm interviewing the fabulous Jayden Creighton, who is a New South Wales-based award-winning filmmaker. Recently released his film entitled The Matriarch, bum, 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 which has apparently gotten rave reviews. I looked on your trailer. You've won Best Feature Film at the AFIN International Film Festival, Best Screenplay at New York Horror Film Festival, Best Foreign Feature. That's interesting that it's considered a foreign feature at the LA Horror Film Festival, and the list goes on and on. Now tell me, Jayden, was this a pretty much self-financed production? Did you get financing from people?
No, entirely self-financed.
I had that feeling.
Yeah, no, we shot it for 40,000 in total, which included pre-production, production, and post-production.
Okay.
Yeah, all raised by myself. So a very personal project.
Right.
But we had a lot of help. We had a lot of people that done it for the bare minimum just to get it done. So, you couldn't have done it without the team that I had. So
excellent, excellent. And how's it been going with distribution, getting it out there, streaming channels?
Yeah, it's a very interesting side of filmmaking that I'm just trying to navigate myself. It's something that I didn't really I wasn't across the business side of it before I started the Matriarch. So it's been a really fascinating journey, sort of learning and navigating that side of it. It's been great though. We partnered with a company called Slated in association with Entertainment Squad, who I believe do all our foreign distribution stuff.
Okay.
And they've been great. They were really, really passionate about the film. We had several meetings prior to signing with them. I think we probably spoke to, we probably had close to a dozen distributors that were interested in the film in various stages of interest, of course. But yeah, Slated really, really pushed for it. They really liked the film. They spoke to me about it as if it was like an artistic project and not just a business avenue. They really cared about it. And they produce really good quality content, so it was kind of a no-brainer for us. And yeah, they're kind of doing all the hard work now. They've got it on all the channels. They've got a publicist involved who's organising the interviews and that side of it. So yeah, it's been a really, really fun ride.
Great, great. So previous to this, you'd just done short films?
Yeah, we've done various mediums. Short films is kind of my bread and butter. We've also done some music videos. We've actually just started a little side hustle, which is exclusively music videos. So we do that through my company called Bad Mojo. We also I've done a web series back when I finished film school. So yeah, kind of various things. But short films is definitely where I got my start, I guess. That's where our following kind of came in.
Great, great. And got future plans, some future productions?
Yeah, well, the idea of the Matriarch, we never saw that as something that was going to make a ton of money, just being the nature of the project. It really was designed as a launch pad to try and start our careers. So, it's done exactly what I wanted to do. It sort of opened the doors and opened the conversations with distributors and hopefully from there, conversations with financiers. And so we have one in development, which you're aware of. We shot a proof of concept trailer called Screaming Bloody Murder. I
Yep.
can't go into too many details about it just yet. It does center on a band trying to navigate a night of terror in true survival horror fashion, which is what we did with the Matriarch as well. But we're going bigger with this. It's got supernatural themes in it, a much bigger cast. More diverse locations. Yeah, it's going to be a real flex in terms of what we've done before creatively. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun.
Great. And how long did it take for you to get the Matriarch going from, well, let's go from the beginning. When you wrote the script, is that correct?
I did, yeah. So it actually started, there was a competition through Monster Pictures. They're an Australian distributor. They
Yep.
had a competition with ACTA called the Monster Pictures Pitch Initiative, and that was designed to kind of bring up and coming genre filmmakers. When we entered that, I believe it was October 23, but I could be mistaken. And that was basically we didn't want to do what everyone else was doing, which was like submit a log line. We wanted to kind of go a bit harder. We actually created like a spec trailer, which is what we're doing with the new film as well. We shot that through. We got into the top 20 finals. And that kind of gave us, even though we didn't win, we kind of had the confidence to keep moving forward with it. So I think we started shooting in June the following year. It was a 17-day shoot. Probably another 6 or 7 months in post production, and then about a year circulating in the film festivals. So that kind of brings us to where we are at the moment.
Excellent. Well, all I can say is well done, especially. So this was personally financed, or did you do a Sam Raimi and get a little bit of money from here and a little bit of money there?
No, I had a lucrative job at the time. I was doing car sales, so we were
Okay.
able to put aside my commissions. A lot of money didn't actually go into the film. It just went into covering people's rent so they could come out and hang out with us for 17 days. And we booked a little B&B in Benalbo as well. So the cast
Yep.
and crew all stayed together. It was like a weird little commune. It was great.
Right.
Um, yeah, I think in the end, all total, I think I pulled out a $15,000 loan and then funded the rest, I think it was. So
Right. Well, I hope you do well with that and get all your money back and tons more.
we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, the list goes on. I don't know if you've ever done there's a website where you can look at, you know, movies that have just, didn't, they had low budgets, but then they just went through the roof. There's been so many of them that made so much money. So,
Yeah, a lot of them genre films as well. There's a really big audience for it. People really like genre films, whether they're good or bad. I think there's still a market for it. So you never know. But again, if it doesn't make us rich, that's totally fine as well. It was a roll of the dice doing it, but it's something I felt like I had to do before I died. So I'm just grateful that the team stuck with me and we got it over the line. I can tick that off my bucket list now. I've made a feature film, so I'm very excited.
well, I'm excited for you. Now, you wrote the script for this. Were you just inspired by something specific? Did it just come to you?
That Monty Pitches initiative that I mentioned, that you had to pitch with the word mother in mind. So mother was kind of the buzzword that you had to hit.
Yeah.
And from there, look, the logline came to me almost immediately. What's scarier than a mum trying to kill her own child? So it was kind of inspired. I watched a Netflix documentary a little while ago. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe Taken in Plain Sight or something like that. But it was about a young girl who was abducted in plain sight. Basically, her parents really endorsed the perpetrator of the crime, and they actually kept communicating with him for a number of years, even after the daughter was abducted. So it was just kind of weird and a little bit gross and a little bit sickening. But that's one of the horrors of life. It happens. People that are sworn to protect, they just let things go under the radar, and you've got people that really suffer for it. And I find that really, really terrifying. And I thought that was just going to be a good subject for the movie.
And tell me, as a professional actor, how did you go with directing the actors to really get the grit out of this horror film that you made?
Yeah, well, I'd worked with a lot of actors that I'd worked with in the past. So Kate Logan, who plays Annette, is always fantastic. I've worked with her on a short film called Kinks. Andy Sparnan I'd worked with before. He was the baddie in my short film Trespassers. Right,
Oops, I've lost you there.
can you
Oh,
hear me?
yep, you're back.
Sorry. Riley Chenels, who plays the cop, Officer Schaefer. I'd worked with him on Trespassers as well and a number of other projects.
Yep.
Um, so I kind of knew their strengths and what they were good at, maybe what they needed a little work with while we were making the film. Logan is, or Kate, sorry, is very, she's such a bold theatrical performer. So getting her to sort of, go into the deep end and tap into the crazy. And it's such a physical performance as well. She rides horses and does a lot of stunt training and stuff like that. So she was just a perfect fit for the character. Andy is such a, he's a subtle performer. He's very menacing when he wants to turn it on. That was something that the character of Trent really called for. So a lot of it came really naturally. The only actress that we really hadn't worked with was the lead, Juliette Greenfield. She was only 14 when we shot it, so really, really amazing achievement for her. Just going toe to toe with who, in my opinion, are some of Brisbane's best actors, and she really held her own as well. She'd done such a good job, but it all just came down to the support that she had on set. The other actors really took her under the wing as well. So yeah, it was a really enjoyable experience with this one.
Well done with the casting and all that. And you shot this in 17 days.
I did. Sorry, my camera's bugging out here. I apologize.
That's
Can you
all
hear me?
right. It'll be part of the fun.
It will be. Yeah, 17-day shoot in Benalbo. So
Wow.
July.
And no, I've worked on many film sets. How long were your days?
Oh, they were long. They were, God, I don't think we had a total count, but yeah, the cast was putting in probably about 14, 15-hour days, I would imagine, something like that.
Well, well done doing a whole film in 17 days. Tell me just briefly, what kind of challenges did you have on the production? Was it all smooth sailing?
A lot of it obviously comes down to just budget and time constraints. When you're working with that little money and everybody's wearing so many hats, you run out of time in the day, and you really need a supportive team who are happy to, put in the extra couple of hours past their call times. If we didn't have that team, we couldn't have done it. The other thing that I didn't really expect, I'm usually, I really enjoy winter, but the Benalbo cold was something else. Shooting in God, it would have hit the minuses on some nights, I think. We had the actors, Logan in particular, she really feels the cold and she's just walking around in quite thin pajamas. So, we're doing those outdoor shoots. She doesn't even have shoes on, she's,
Wow.
yeah, really, really. That was something else. That's something I didn't really expect to be as much of a challenge. We all encouraged the actors to wear thermals and we had kettles and hot water bottles and stuff offset, on hand, obviously. But it was just, yeah, it was something that I don't think anybody was really anticipating was just how cold it was going to be and how challenging it is to shoot in the cold.
And did you edit it yourself? Did you have an editor working with you?
No, I edited it myself. So,
Well done.
yeah, I'm
Well
just
done.
still in that point in my career where I'd love to delegate certain responsibilities. I don't think, I'm best at it by any means,
Yep.
but at this stage of the budget, you kind of have to. So
So you did a Robert Rodriguez.
yeah, yeah, I think at this stage of my career, it's the only way to get it done. But no, my crew's very kind of similar minded. My DP, who I always work with, his name is Matt Martin. He's fantastic.
Yep.
He's very like-minded. He's, he doesn't think he needs, 17 camera assistants lying around doing nothing on set. He wears a lot of hats as well. So, in some ways, it makes it kind of a faster moving crew, if that makes sense. But
Yep. And did you have like I mean, obviously this was a horror film, so you had a very specific visual style and tone in mind that you put together for this?
We did, yeah. We it was very inspired by a film by Fede Alvarez called Don't Breathe that came out in 2016. That was
Okay.
probably our major influence. But there's plenty of homages just to older films and modern horror films. There's a little bit of Kubrick in there, a
Yep.
lot of John Carpenter with the fog and the backlighting. That's a visual aesthetic I've always kind of run with. Um, yeah, God, even Toby Hooper's bit of Texas Chainsaw Massacre in it. So pick your poison. There's a lot of horror in there from the greatest.
Excellent. Well, well done, well done. And so just a little bit more about because especially from as a filmmaker, I've so far I've only shot short films. Maybe eventually I'll make feature films. Really, how's the journey been getting it out there? You mentioned a company that's working with you. So how are they working? Are they going to take a percentage of your sales on the back end? Is that how?
They
Or
do, yeah. It's all pre-negotiated prior to signing, of course. They take their cut to do what they do. That said, I mean they're probably well deserving of it too. They hook it up with channels that I would never have the means to.
yeah,
So it's currently on Apple TV, Prime Video, Google Play. I think they just sold it to a company in South Korea. So they're
right.
they're very well connected. So you kind of make your money back.
Well, and I've heard that if you want to succeed with making a film in this business, make a horror film.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think you should very much be passionate about the genre. I think horror, like I am a horror fan, and I can see right through it when a director makes a horror film and they don't like horror movies.
Yeah.
So I think that you should still be very passionate about the medium that you're making. I would say that, honestly, I think we've had a bit of success even with our short films and the view count that they've accumulated. We've had two that have gone viral, and I think the success for that is because I've just made what I wanted to make. I never really let the genres really dictate what I want to do. I just do what I feel is right at the time, and that tends to pick up.
Well, I've lost you. Hopefully you'll come back.
Sorry about this. Must be my internet. But but yeah, like I was saying, I think just shoot what you're passionate about shooting. Horror is one of those great genres where, like I said, it doesn't really matter if it's good or bad. It tends to have a built-in audience, which is fantastic. Just so happens to be the genre that I like making. So
And your next film is a little bit more on the thriller side as well, a little bit of tad on the horror side, or mostly thriller.
yeah, I'd say horror thriller, more action, I would say. There's probably a
Yep.
few more action bits involved as well. But I do think good horror tends to encompass quite a few genres. You can look at
Yep.
a lot of horror thriller films that have the action beats in it. You can combine comedy in there. I mean that film Sinners just came out, and that was a period drama for for the first hour or so. So the genre just lends itself so well to combining other genres, I think.
Well, my favorite horror film are the funny ones. I just love, when it's just zany and crazy and insane shit happens out of nowhere.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, and huge hits in their own right because obviously there's a huge audience for them. So.
Now, for any budding filmmakers out there, what's some top couple of good advice tips you can give people?
Yeah, I mentioned a little bit about just having the right team around me being so important to making a feature film. I think that holds true to any budget that you are making. I think you really need just the people that are going to be around and see the journey through from beginning to end. I have done a short film where I didn't necessarily get along with the crew. They weren't necessarily like the people that I work with all the time. And I think that kind of showed in the end product, and it really made me quite disillusioned in filmmaking. And at the end of that project, at the end of the shooting day, I was dry heaving into the sink. You know what I mean? It was just so hot stress. Um, and Yeah, I just think it's so important just to have the right people. And if that means you have to make sort of a dozen short films until you get the right people to make your feature, then so be it. I certainly wouldn't advise going into making a feature until you have, your DP that you like working with, your composer that you like working with, your sound guy, even some of the actors, you know what I mean? I just think having the right thing is so, so important. So when you start filmmaking, just spend that time building your network and building up the people that you like to work with.
Well, I know that's true about all the top directors. They've got their favorite ADs and favorite cinematographers and favorite editors, and I mean it makes complete sense. How are you going to spend 12, 14-hour days every day for months and months on end with people you don't like? Nobody's going to want to do that.
Yeah, well, in the case of the Matriarch, you're spending 24 hours because you go home and sleep in the same commune as them as well. So, and even with people you like, sometimes tension, gets high. You want to be in a position where you can walk back that tension and bring it back to a good relationship. So, and you get that out of the best relationships, I think. So, not saying we fought a lot on the Matriarch, but you can tell when someone's having an off day, and hopefully you can do your best to try and make that day better. And the same thing will happen to you. If you're having an off day, that same person might hit you up the following day. So.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I think that's pretty much all I've got for you. I really appreciate your time and talking about your film. And I wish you lots of luck on your next production and all kinds of future productions. And especially look forward to this one really succeeding out there.
Yeah, thank you so much. And the next one as well, which you had a little cheeky appearance in. So I'll keep
yes.
you up to date. I'll send through the trailer. We're very, very close to finishing. I'm just waiting on the color grade, so
Oh,
you'll
great.
see a little bit more of that very soon.
Well, I had fun doing it. That was good fun. I got some great photos for my show reel for that, and so yeah,
Cool.
I hope that. So just a little bit more about that. I know you don't want to go into much details, but so you've made a proof of concept. So that proof of concept, have you sent it out to like, some big companies, or what's the scoop?
Not yet, but that is the plan. We want to try and attract, because I produced the Matriarch myself. So this time we want to get a producer attached to it.
Okay.
Hopefully, the producer can help us out with various funding bodies. At the end of the day, unless your films are turning over millions of dollars, it's just not sustainable to fund them yourself. So
Yeah.
we need to get to that point in my career where I can try and get some funding bodies or investors interested. And best way to do that is attract a producer that really knows what they're doing. So
Yep.
that's the plan. Sending it out to producers who I admire their work. Maybe they've done some good stuff in the genre space, and just seeing how we go. I've also put together a pitch deck, and I
Yep.
finished the first draft of the screenplay as well. So hopefully we're in a good position to try and get some people attached to it, and try and get a real production budget is the plan with that one.
And you're working just getting it produced in Australia, or you're working in the US as well?
Well, it's actually set in Oregon,
Okay.
in the United States.
Yep.
But that said, Australia has really good tax incentives. We certainly have the talent, and I think we have some really good geographical locations as well. So I
Yep.
might not get the final decision once we get producers and financiers involved. They might have an idea of where they're going to film it. Which is all part and parcel with the business, I think. I think that's kind of where I'm at, is where I kind of need to make maybe certain compromises to my vision, but also get it out of the best possible quality. So I'd love to shoot in Australia if we get that opportunity, but yeah, I may not get the choice, unfortunately.
And you wrote this one as well?
Yeah, I read this one as well. I'll probably continue to write my own films, I think. That way I forge more of a personal connection to the story and certainly the characters. I think that's going to make my work easier as a director. 'Cause by the
Yep.
time we're shooting, if I have a question presented, I usually know the answer. So I don't know if I necessarily would if it was somebody else's material. So, never say never. I'm not saying I wouldn't be open to adaptations, but at this stage, I'm definitely interested in continuing to write.
Great. Excellent. All right. Well, it was fabulous talking to you there, Jayden. And he dropped out again. Wait till you come back so that we can do a Final
So
goodbye.
sorry. Back with you. But thank you so much for having me.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for talking to me.
No, it's been fun. I've enjoyed the questions. You spoke very well. I've done a few interviews over the last couple of weeks, and they can be hit and miss. Yours was really good. So
Oh, well, thanks. This is my very first interview. So I mean, I can't recall if I've ever interviewed anybody really. I interviewed for a short film I did, somebody in the music field. So you're definitely my first film related interview.
you might have a future name. Might have to start a podcast or something.
Hey, I certainly have thought about it. That's for sure. That's for sure. I mean, I already have a podcast that's related to in the spiritual field. Are you still there?
I am. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, of course, that's a great idea. And who knows? Who knows?
Yeah. I will let me know if you need a guest on it.
Thanks. I certainly will. And hey, I look forward to us doing some things together, maybe working on films together. And I look forward to your future success.
Absolutely. It's great to know there's somebody closer to home doing it. So, that was one of the best things about that last project is meeting a couple of Byron Bay people. So it's good.
Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for
Awesome.
talking to
Have a
me.
good night. I'll catch up with you soon. Like I said, I'll shoot through that trailer when I have it. I'm just waiting on the color.
Okay, great. Yeah, I look forward to seeing it.
Awesome. All right. You have a good night. We'll catch up soon.
Okay, you too. Bye bye.
See you, man. Bye.